"You do not need that," my son-in-law shouted when he saw my dream RV. "Tomorrow my family and I are going on vacation and we are leaving you in a nursing home." I froze, but he did not know that I already had a plan. As soon as they hit the road, I sent him a text message. "Look in the glove box." What he found there forced him to stop, and that was just the beginning. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to the channel and tell me in the comments what time it is where you are. I signed my name on the bottom line, my hand steady on the paper. 35 years selling insurance policies had taught me to review every clause, every condition, and this contract was clean. The Winnebago Vista waited 15 feet away in the dealership lot in Phoenix, cream and bronze under the afternoon sun, the windows shining like promises. $45,000 from my retirement fund, money saved dollar by dollar with care. The salesman shook my hand and left the keys in my palm. "Congratulations, Mr. Reeves. She is all yours." I walked alone toward the motorhome, ran my fingers over the smooth fiberglass surface. Inside, everything smelled new. I opened the cupboards in the small kitchen, tested the faucet, sat in the driver's seat, and squeezed the steering wheel. The Grand Canyon first, I thought, then down south, maybe all the way to Argentina before the snow arrived. Places I had marked on maps for years, while clients talked to me about life insurance and policy conversions across my desk. Standing in the entryway, I took out my cell phone. Lucy would want to know. She had been asking me for months about my retirement plans, suggesting I find hobbies, that I stay active. This was better than hobbies. This was freedom. I hesitated for a moment before dialing, my thumb hovering over her contact photo, her bright smile, her kids on either side. Then I pressed call. "Dad?" Her voice sounded flat, distracted. "Lucy. Honey. I did it. I bought the RV, a Winnebago Vista, in excellent condition. I am looking at it right now, and I am already imagining the Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, maybe even Argentina." The silence stretched on the line. Not the good kind, not the pause before excitement, the silence that calculates. "How much did you spend?" Not a congratulations, not a word about my plans or my joy, just numbers. I felt something small deflate inside my chest. $45,000. It is a solid investment, and I have been saving for this since. 45,000. She cut off my explanation like scissors through paper. "That is a lot of money. You could have used it in other ways." I stood in the dealership parking lot, the keys getting hotter in my fist. Behind me, cars passed on the avenue. A family was loading groceries into an SUV, their kids laughing. "I thought you would be happy for me." This was something I had wanted to do for years. "I have to go. Ryan just got home. We will talk later." The call cut off before I could answer. I stared at the phone screen. Duration, 2 minutes and 38 seconds. That was all the time my dream deserved. I climbed into the driver's seat and started the engine, listening to its purr. The drive home took me 40 minutes through the Scottsdale traffic, and every single one of those minutes I spent trying to understand what it meant to act more sensibly. Later that afternoon, I parked the trailer in my driveway, next to the house. The empty house. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, spaces my wife had filled before cancer took her 4 years ago. I made a sandwich, took it out to the trailer, and spread maps out on the small table. One route was marked with memories of Route 66. Another pointed out national parks. My finger traced the highways, but my mind went back again and again to Lucy's voice. That coldness, that immediate way of thinking about costs instead of joy, more sensibly. I picked up the phone twice, put it down twice. No call came back. No text apologizing for reacting poorly. Nothing saying she was happy for me, that Ryan had actually just arrived at a bad time. Nothing. The maps remained spread out and colorful under the ceiling light, but I no longer felt the enthusiasm. Outside, my house remained in shadows. Only a light in the kitchen and another in the trailer. An old man with a costly mistake. I folded the maps carefully, following the original creases. I turned off the table lamp. Through the trailer window I saw my house, dark, empty, just like it had been since my retirement started 6 months ago. I repeated to myself that tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow I would start fresh. I would plan the first real trip. Maybe drive up to Sedona for a test run. I had no idea that the next day would change everything. The morning coffee tasted bitter. I did not know if I had used too many grounds or if I still had the taste of yesterday's conversation in my mouth. At 8:30, the kitchen window framed the trailer under the perfect Arizona sunlight. A beautiful machine, a beautiful waste, according to my daughter. I rinsed the mug, left it in the drying rack, and then I heard the car. It was not the mail truck. Too early. Not a delivery van either. I moved to the living room window and saw a black Lexus pull up to the curb. Ryan got out, slammed the door shut, and advanced toward my house with a determined stride. No prior call, no knock of courtesy. The front door opened. I had not locked it. I almost never did in my neighborhood. And my son-in-law crossed straight through the living room to the kitchen. Arthur? Not Arthur. How are you? Not good morning. Just my name. Flat, like a sentence. The family talked about it. We need the trailer for a couple of weeks. A 2-week vacation. They already had everything planned. I was standing by the sink, still with the rag in my hand. Processing. The family had talked about it. When? Last night, while I sat alone reviewing my maps. What? Ryan, what are you talking about? I just bought it yesterday. He walked past me, scanning the countertop. He found what he was looking for. My keychain. Exactly where I had left it, next to the coffee maker. The key to the Winnebago hung from its branded fob. Yes, Lucy told me. 45 grand. It is a lot for something you are barely going to use. My hands tensed on the towel. Barely use? I had owned it less than 24 hours. Not use it? I was planning an entire trip. At your age? He held up the keys, examining them as if they were fruit at the market. Come on. You do not need this. We can drop you off at a senior living facility on the way, if you want. The words hit me like a punch. Senior living facility, as if I were luggage to be stored away, as if those $45,000, my savings, my life, had been spent just so his family could have a vacation vehicle. You cannot take what is mine. Those are my keys. But he was already heading for the door, with my keys in his fist. Young, sure of himself, dismissive. We are family. We lend each other things. That is how it works. We will take good care of it. I took a step forward. I reached out my hand. But he was faster. 37 years against my 63. He opened the front door, paused on the threshold, and threw his final courtesy. Thanks for understanding. We leave tomorrow. Then he disappeared. He walked down the path. He got into the Lexus. The engine started smooth and luxurious. I remained in the door, watching him drive away, with my arms extended as if I could bring him back, recover my keys, recover my dignity from where he had thrown it. The Lexus turned the corner. It vanished. I stood there a full minute before my legs remembered how to move. I went back inside. I closed the door. This time I locked it. I stayed in the kitchen, in the spot where Ryan had stood, where he entered without real permission and took what he wanted. The family had talked about it. Lucy's coldness yesterday suddenly made sense. She was not upset about my purchase. She was calculating its value, measuring how they could take advantage of it. And that comment, "You could have invested it better," meant that she had already decided that money should go elsewhere. Blindly to her, I walked to my bedroom, moving on automatic pilot. I opened the top drawer of the dresser where I kept important documents, spare batteries, old watches, and there, on a small metal ring, the spare set of keys. The dealership had given me 2. Always have a duplicate, I had learned in insurance. Always prepare for loss. I picked up the keys. I felt their weight. Ryan thought he had won, that I accepted it, that the old man would return to his empty house and let them steal his dream for a 2-week vacation. 35 years in insurance had taught me patience. It had taught me to read people, to detect liars. Documenting everything taught me that contracts always work both ways, that assumptions are a risk, and that the person who values you least is usually the one who ends up destroying you. I sat at my desk with the spare keys cold in my hand. Through the window I could see the trailer still parked in my driveway, waiting, still mine, full of maps and possibilities. Ryan would return the next morning believing it would be ready, expecting me to obey. He would knock on the door, Or maybe walk in unannounced like before and discover just how wrong he was about old men, nursing homes, and forced loans. I picked up my phone and opened the contact list. I had calls to make. I left the keys on the desk while I pulled files from the cabinet. Insurance policies, mine, the house, the trailer, property deeds, investment statements, and my will dated 3 years ago. Updated after my wife's death. Everything to Lucy. Everything I had worked for. Saved and protected. I spread the documents over the desk and started reviewing them. An insurance agent learns to think in scenarios. What happens if this occurs? What coverage applies? What risks the client faces? I applied that same analysis. But the calculation now had nothing to do with premiums or liability limits, but with the risk that my daughter and her husband believed they could humiliate me without paying a price. The table clock struck 2, then 4, then 6. The dawn came in gray through the window, and I was still there, thinking. Lucy's voice on that call, "How much did you spend?" had not been surprise, but inventory. Ryan's confidence entering my house, taking my keys, talking about a nursing home, was not improvised cruelty. It was rehearsed, planned. The family had discussed it. How long had they been plotting this? At 7:30, I picked up the phone and searched through my contacts. Jennifer Vance, attorney. I had worked with her on estate planning after my wife passed. Professional, thorough, expensive. I pressed call. "Miss Vance, this is Arthur Reeves speaking. I need to see you today to change my will. It is urgent." Her voice maintained that calculated neutrality of lawyers. "Mr. Reeves, my schedule is completely. I will pay double your rate. It cannot wait." A pause. Then, "Can I move some appointments? 2 in the afternoon? I will be there." I showered, put on the gray suit I had used in client meetings for 3 decades. Starched white shirt, navy blue tie. When you make decisions that matter, you dress as if they matter. I made coffee, drank it standing in the kitchen, and left the house at 1:15. The drive to her office in downtown Phoenix took 40 minutes. I rehearsed what I was going to say. Clinical, direct, without emotion. Jennifer Vance's office was on the 3rd floor of a building near the courthouse. Glass desk, leather armchairs, framed degrees on the wall. She shook my hand and gestured for me to sit. "Your current will leaves everything to your daughter, Lucy. You want to change that too?" I looked her in the eyes. "The Veterans Support Fund, main beneficiary. Lucy gets $1. I want it written just like that. Exactly $1. She set the pen on the table. "Mr. Reeves, this is a major change. Are you completely sure? Sometimes family disputes can be. I have never been more sure of anything in my life. How fast can you prepare it?" She observed me looking for doubt, anger, or sadness. She would find nothing. I had already moved past all that. "I can have it ready by this afternoon. You will need 2 witnesses for the signing." "May I ask what motivated this?" I stood up. "The family showed me who they really are. I am just responding accordingly." 3 hours later, I returned to her office. The document was ready. 2 paralegals served as witnesses. I signed my name 3 times, 1 on the original and 2 on the copies. The pen moved firmly on each signature line. Without hesitation, without regret. "I need all 3 copies," I told Jennifer. She put them in a folder and handed it to me across the desk. "The original will remain filed in my office. These copies are for you, Mr. Reeves, if you need to talk. Thank you for your time, Miss Vance." I drove home with the folder on the passenger seat. The trailer was in my driveway exactly where I had left it, cream and bronze under the afternoon light. I parked the car and walked to the trailer with the spare keys in my hand. The lock turned without a problem. The door opened with a soft click. Inside, everything still smelled new. Ryan had not taken it yet. He said he would do it tomorrow. I walked to the front, opened the glove box, and placed a copy of the will right inside, without hiding it, right on top, where anyone looking for insurance papers or registration would find it immediately. I stood for a moment looking around, the compact kitchen, the table where I had spread my maps. This had been my dream, my reward after 35 years of work and careful saving. They turned it into a robbery. "Let's see how that vacation goes for them," I said to the empty space. I locked the trailer and went back to my house. From the living room window I could see it there, innocent, ordinary, waiting. I placed the document carefully, right where anyone checking the vehicle registration or insurance papers would find it. I made coffee and sat at the kitchen table. They would arrive soon. Ryan had said they would leave in the morning. I checked the time. Any moment now. I stood at the window with my coffee, watching the street. 7:40 in the morning. The neighborhood was waking up. Garage doors opening. Cars backing out. People going to work. A normal Tuesday. Normal lives. Mine stopped being normal the instant Ryan walked through my door yesterday. The black Lexus appeared at 8:15, followed by a silver SUV. Both vehicles pulled into my driveway. The doors opened. Ryan got out first, then Lucy from the passenger seat. Two kids got out from the back. Sophia, 10 years old, with her mother's face, and Matthew, 7, hugging a teddy bear. My grandkids. I had sent them birthday cards, Christmas gifts. They barely knew me. I watched them as they started to load the trailer. Suitcases, coolers, beach chairs, an inflatable raft. They moved with the quiet speed of a family ready to vacation, excited, eager for adventure. Nobody knocked on my door. Nobody looked toward my window. It was as if I did not exist. Ryan opened the trailer with the keys he had taken from my counter. He went in first, checked the interior, then came out and called his family. Everyone stored things in the compartments, organizing their belongings in my space. Then Ryan turned toward my house, cupped his hands to his mouth and yelled, loud enough for the whole neighborhood to hear, "Thanks for the trailer, Arthur. We are going to take really good care of it. Maybe we will even send you postcards." Lucy touched his arm. "Ryan, let's go already," he laughed. "What? He cannot hear us anyway. Probably locked inside, pouting." Sophia pulled on his shirt. "Dad, can we stop at the Grand Canyon?" Matthew was jumping with excitement. "I want to see the ocean." Ryan crouched in front of them, expansive, generous. "We are going to see it all. Kids, 2 whole weeks of adventure." They got into the trailer, Ryan at the wheel, Lucy beside him, the kids in the back. The engine started. I watched them pull out of my driveway, turn left, and disappear around the corner. The whole process took 12 minutes. I sat at the kitchen table and put the phone in front of me. I looked at the time. 8:27. Surely they would take Interstate 10 heading west from Phoenix to California, passing through the desert towns. In 2 hours they would be past Quartzsite, maybe reaching the state line. Far enough that coming back would mean a decision, not a quick fix. I drank my coffee slowly, washed the mug, dried it, put it away. I checked the time. 9 o'clock. 9:30. 10. 10:15. At 10:27 I picked up the phone and opened a new message. Ryan's number. I wrote 4 words, checked the glove box. I pressed send and left the phone on the table. 3 minutes passed. My cell phone lit up. Ryan calling. I let it ring. Voicemail. Another call. Voicemail. The screen did not turn off. Immediately another call. This time from Lucy. I let that one ring too. By 10:45 I already had 63 missed calls from Ryan, 28 from Lucy, several voice messages. I opened one. I listened to the first 5 seconds. "Arthur, what is in the glove box? Call me." I deleted it without finishing. I tapped another. What the hell is this? "You cannot do this to me. This is... Call me right now." Delete. Next voicemail. This time Lucy, with a broken voice. "Dad, please, call us. We need to talk about this. I am begging you." I put the phone aside and opened the message screen. I wrote slowly, making sure every word was exact. "This is just the beginning. Send." I placed the phone face down on the coffee table. The buzzing continued. Vibrations against the wood. Insistent. Desperate. Their panic was invisible from here, but I imagined it. Ryan pulling over on the highway shoulder. Lucy reading the will. Her face going pale. The kids in the back asking what was wrong. Why are we stopping? Are we still on vacation? I walked to my office and opened the file cabinet. From inside I took out the folder I had prepared the night before. Second copy of the will. Motorhome papers. Purchase receipts. The original signed title. Everything with my name. My signature. My property. Clearly documented. That morning I had made another call. One I did not mention to anyone. 7:30, before coffee. Before sitting at the window. To the Scottsdale Police Department. Non-emergency line. I explained my situation calmly, professionally. I have purchased a property. My family took it without permission. I have the documents. I want to file a report. The next morning I had an appointment. Officer Miller. 9 o'clock sharp. They were waiting for me. I went back to the living room and picked up the phone. 81 missed calls now. I turned it off completely and put it in the desk drawer. Let them worry. Let them despair. Let them understand that the old man they had belittled, the candidate for a nursing home, the one who, according to them, did not need a $45,000 RV at his age. I would show them exactly what he is capable of when pushed too far. I made lunch, turkey sandwich, a glass of water. I ate it slowly at the kitchen table where just yesterday Ryan had stood, where he took my keys with that natural arrogance. The house was silent. Outside, the hole in the driveway where the RV used to be looked strange, incomplete. But I was no longer empty. I was full of purpose, full of clarity, full of cold and perfect certainty about what came next. The morning light came through my bedroom window as I organized the papers on the desk. Purchase receipt from the dealership. $45,000. My signature. Date marked 6 days ago. Certificate of title. Arthur Reeves. Sole owner. No co-signers. No liens. Registration card. Insurance policy. Photographs I had taken of the VIN plate fixed on the RV door. I arranged them in order, put them in a manila folder, and looked at my watch. 8:15. The police station opened at 8. I put on the gray suit, the same one I had worn at Jennifer Vance's office. When you want people to take you seriously, you dress seriously. 35 years selling insurance taught me that appearance weighs almost as much as facts. Almost. The drive to the police precinct took 12 minutes. Modern building, sand-colored facade, an American flag waving out front. I parked in the visitor lot and crossed through the glass doors into the air conditioning and fluorescent light. A reception counter, plastic chairs, posters about crime prevention. A uniformed officer looked up from his computer. "How can I help you, sir?" I approached the counter, laid my folder on the surface, and looked him straight in the eye. "I need to report the theft of a vehicle." The nameplate read Officer Miller. He had the weathered face of someone who has heard the same story twice. He pulled out a form, clicked his pen. "What type of vehicle?" "A motorhome. Winnebago Vista. I bought it 6 days ago for $45,000. My son-in-law took it without permission yesterday morning." Miller's hand paused. His expression said, "Family problem, not real theft. I already expected that. Do you have proof of ownership?" I opened the folder and turned the documents toward him. Purchase invoice from the dealership. Title in my name only. Registration. Insurance policy. All under my name. I can also give you the VIN and the current location of the vehicle. Miller pulled the papers closer, reviewing each one in detail. His expression changed. Skepticism gave way to professional interest. Current location. Interstate 10, heading west. He told me yesterday he was on his way to California. He must be about 2 hours from here by now. He began to type, entering the information into his computer. "Did you give him permission to use it?" "No. He entered my house, took the keys from the counter, and took it, even though I told him not to. I have a spare set. That is why I managed to get my personal documents out before he left." Miller photographed every paper with his phone, registered the VIN, asked for the full name and description of Ryan. He wrote without pause, formulating questions and filling in the spaces on the screen. The form took 20 minutes. When he finished, he looked at me with something resembling respect. "Mr. Reeves, with the documentation you presented, this qualifies as unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. Due to the value, it is a felony. I will enter it into the system immediately. Highway Patrol will locate the vehicle and contact the driver. And then what? They will inform him of the theft report and give him options to return the vehicle immediately or face arrest for grand theft auto." I thanked him and left. Simple as that. Documents, procedure, law. 3 pillars that hold up civilization. Ryan had forgotten that, or maybe he never understood it. I drove back home, made coffee, and sat by the front window. The empty space in my driveway did not seem so strange anymore. Soon it would stop being empty. The phone rang at noon. Miller's voice, professional and emotionless. "Mr. Reeves, Highway Patrol located your vehicle about 70 miles west of Phoenix. The officers spoke with the driver. He has been informed of the theft report and is on his way back to your residence. Was there any problem? At first, he showed resistance. He says it was all a family misunderstanding. The officers explained that the title indicates a single owner and that you filed a formal complaint. He understood what his options were. I imagined the scene. The lights flashing in the rearview mirror. 2 officers approaching with hands near their weapons. Standard procedure in a stolen vehicle stop. Ryan's confident smile fading when they explained the reason for the stop. Lucy crying in the passenger seat. The kids confused in the back, asking why the police were there, why their trip was over. Thank you, Officer Miller. They will arrive at your address in about 2 hours. Do you want an officer present when they return the vehicle? No. I just want what is mine returned to me. I ended the call and looked at the clock. 2 hours. I refilled my coffee mug and went back to sit by the window. The afternoon sun beat down hard. Typical August in Arizona. They called it dry heat, as if that made the 110 degrees more bearable. I thought about Ryan's face when the patrolman approached him. The instant he understood that this was not about an angry old man making empty threats. It was the law. It was documentation. It was procedure, and it was consequences. That is what happens when you take possession of $45,000 in someone else's property and think being family gives you immunity. The coffee was already cold when I saw the trailer turn onto my street. It was 2 o'clock, almost exact. Behind came Ryan's Lexus, driven by Lucy. The trailer pulled into my driveway, rocking a little when Ryan braked too hard. He killed the engine. Nothing moved for half a minute. Then the trailer door opened and Ryan got out. His face flushed red. Embarrassment? Rage? Probably both. He slammed the trailer door shut. I heard it even with the window closed. Lucy got out of the Lexus slower, her face swollen and stained with tears. The kids stayed back, glued to the glass, watching. I got up, walked to the front door, and stepped out onto the porch. I did not go toward them. I made them come to me. My property, my driveway, my terms. Ryan crossed the concrete with heavy steps, stopping 10 feet away. I left him close enough to yell, not to touch. You humiliated us. The police stopped us on the highway as if we were criminals, in front of my children. What kind of sick old man does this to his own family? I kept my voice calm, like in a normal chat. The kind whose property was stolen. Stolen? The word got stuck in his throat. We are family. You do not call the police on family. You took my vehicle without permission. That is theft. The police agreed. His hands closed into fists. For an instant I thought he might actually hit me. A part of me almost wished he would, assaulting a senior citizen. Officer Miller would be interested in that. You think you are so smart? Changing your will as if it were an act of revenge? We are going to fight it. We are going to get you declared incompetent. It is evident that you suffer from dementia if you think this is acceptable behavior. There it was, the threat I expected, the move I had already foreseen. Predictable. Lucy approached slowly, tears running down her face. Dad, please. The kids are scared. They do not understand why their trip was ruined. Why are you doing this to us? I looked fixedly at her. To you? Or to you, Lucy? She shivered. I am your daughter. How can you treat me like this? I treated you like family. I told you about my dream. You told your husband. He came and snatched it from me. So yes, Lucy. This is how I treat people who do that. He is my husband. He made a mistake. You cannot forgive a mistake? Think of your grandkids. The grandkids. The guilt card. I had anticipated that too. Ryan took a step forward, his voice dropping to a tone harder than shouting. This is not over. You are going to hear from our lawyer. Tomorrow we file the lawsuit. It is clear you do not have the mental capacity to handle your affairs. I extended my hand, palm up, waiting. He looked at me confused. The keys, I said. His jaw tightened. He wanted to refuse. He wanted to throw them at my feet or into the street. But today he had learned something. That refusing had consequences. He took the keychain from his pocket and let it drop into my hand. The metal was still warm from his body heat. I closed my fingers around it, turned and walked toward my door. Behind me, Lucy was still crying. Ryan was breathing hard through his nose. The kids watched from the car windows. I went inside and closed the door. The lock engaged with a firm click. Through the window, I saw them stay there a minute longer. Then Ryan took Lucy by the arm and led her toward the Lexus. They left. The trailer was in my driveway, returned, but it no longer symbolized dreams. Now it represented something else. I went to the kitchen and poured the cold coffee down the sink. Tomorrow they would file their petition. Tomorrow the next phase would begin. That night I had calls to make. The letter arrived at 9:30 the next morning. I was drinking coffee on the back patio when the doorbell rang. A uniformed courier asked me to sign for delivery. A legal-sized envelope. Law firm address, embossed in the corner. Whitman and Associates, attorneys at law. I signed on the electronic tablet, closed the door, and opened the envelope in the kitchen. The paper was heavy, expensive. The writing was drafted in formal language. Petition for a declaration of incapacity. Grounds to sustain that Arthur Reeves, 63 years of age, lacks the mental capacity necessary to administer his finances. It alleged recent erratic conduct, alienation from family, impulsive purchases, and even legal processes against relatives. Request for a psychiatric evaluation ordered by the court. I read it twice, slowly. They had moved fast. They consulted a lawyer the night before. Filed the lawsuit this morning. Ryan was nothing if not reactive. Every move of mine had an immediate counter, predictable, almost disappointing. I left the petition on the counter and picked up my phone. I searched for the contact I had saved 3 days earlier, when none of this had started. The direct line of Jennifer Vance. She answered on the second ring. Miss Vance, it is Arthur Reeves. I need to see you today. They have filed an incapacity petition. A pause. Then, I will make room. Can you be here at 2? I will be there at 1:30. I spent the morning gathering more documents. Bank statements showing careful and consistent management. Balanced investment portfolios, suitable for my age and risk tolerance. Tax returns filed on time for 35 years. Performance reviews from my career in insurance. References from former colleagues. Medical records from my physical 2 months ago. Normal blood pressure. Cholesterol controlled. Cognitive tests with excellent results. By 1 o'clock I had 3 folders ready. Proof of competence. Proof of sound judgment. Proof of a man who had lived making rational decisions. A single, irresponsible, impulsive purchase. A trailer paid for with my own money. It did not erase all that history. Jennifer Vance's office felt colder than I remembered. Or maybe it was me who was exhausted. She pointed to the chair across from her desk. She reviewed the petition while I waited. Her face revealed nothing. This is aggressive, she said finally. Usually incapacity requests appear with true cognitive decline. Medical evidence. Family accounts of confusion. Dangerous behaviors. This, she touched the paper, is retaliation. Can they win? Do you want the legal answer or the practical one? Both. Legally, they must prove that you lack the capacity to handle your affairs. With your documentation, medical records, and the evident retaliatory nature of this lawsuit, they will lose. Practically, it will be expensive, it will take time, and it will be emotionally draining. And that may be the objective. They are trying to punish you for not giving them what they wanted. I already knew that. How do we respond? We file a countersuit. We show your medical records, financial history, and character witnesses. We argue that this is a frivolous petition made in bad faith, and, she leaned forward, we go on the offensive. We ask for a restraining order prohibiting them from entering your property or contacting you. We document their harassment. We make this cost them more than it costs you. Do it, she said while writing on a legal pad. I will need you to hand over your medical histories, your financial documents, authorization to contact character witnesses, former colleagues, neighbors, anyone who can attest to your capacity and stability. I slid 3 folders across her desk, already prepared. She opened the first one, glanced at bank statements, investment reports, tax returns. A smile drew itself at the corner of her mouth. You are making my job very easy, Mr. Reeves. 35 years in insurance. I know how to document a claim. This is not just documenting a claim. This is... She closed the folder and looked me in the eyes. This is building a case so they never have access to your assets again. You understand what you are doing. I am protecting what I work to have. You are also breaking your relationship with your daughter permanently. Once we file the restraining order, once we allege they are harassing you for money, there will be no turning back. I thought of Lucy's face yesterday, between tears and accusations, using her children as weapons, without ever acknowledging what Ryan had done, without defending me or asking if I was okay. File everything. The hearing was set for 3 weeks later. It is a routine calendar, Jennifer explained. Both parties would present evidence. A court-appointed psychiatrist would evaluate me. The judge would issue a ruling. They will try to reach a settlement before, she added. When they see your documentation and realize they are losing, they will offer to withdraw the petition if you put them back in your will. And if they do, what do you want me to tell them? I stood up, gathering my empty folders. Tell them no. The next 2 weeks passed slowly. I followed my routine, going to the supermarket, gym, having lunch with 2 ex-colleagues who agreed to be character witnesses. Normal life. Competent life. The life of a man who knew exactly what he was doing. Lucy called 4 times. I did not answer. She left voicemails. The first was furious. How dare you file a restraining order? Are you destroying this family? The second was pleading. Please, Dad, we can fix this. Just withdraw everything and let's forget what happened. The third was desperate. Ryan did not do it on purpose. He is sorry. We all are. Please. The fourth was just crying, until the line cut off. I saved the 4 messages. Documentation. Ryan sent an email. Subject line. Final offer. I opened it standing at my kitchen counter. We will withdraw the incompetency petition and leave you alone. In exchange, you put us back in the will and sign over the title to the trailer. Otherwise, we will go to trial and drag it out for years. You decide. I forwarded the email to Jennifer Vance without replying. She answered me in less than an hour. Perfect. He just put his extortion attempt in writing. Save this. The psychiatric evaluation took place on a Wednesday afternoon. Dr. Patricia Allison, appointed by the court, received me in her office in downtown Scottsdale. She asked questions for 90 minutes. My medical history, my career, my relationship with Lucy, the purchase of the trailer, the change to the will, my decision to call the police. I answered every question with total honesty, no embellishments, without playing the victim. Just facts. She administered cognitive tests, memory exercises, pattern recognition, and problem-solving scenarios. I passed everything without difficulty. At the end, she closed her notebook and looked me in the eye. Mr. Reeves, do you understand why your daughter filed this petition? Yes, she wants my money. That sounds a bit simplistic, but it is true. She smiled barely. I will have my report ready for the court on Friday. I cannot discuss my conclusions with you, but I will tell you this. Nothing in your conduct indicates cognitive decline or inability to handle your affairs. What you are experiencing is a family conflict, not a competency issue. I thanked her and left. The hearing was set for Monday, 3 days away. Jennifer called me Friday night with news. Dr. Allison's report arrived. It is excellent for us. She determined that you are fully competent, pointed out the vindictive nature of the petition, and recommended dismissing it immediately. Whitman called me an hour later. They want to reach a settlement. What are they offering? They withdraw the petition in exchange for you lifting the restraining order and considering putting them back in your will. No. I told them you would say that. They will go ahead with the hearing on Monday. Good. Arthur, they are going to lose. And badly. The judge will see it for what it really is. Harassment. You will win. I know. Then why do you sound disappointed? I looked out my kitchen window toward the trailer in my driveway. 3 weeks since I bought it. 3 weeks since my life divided into a before and an after. Why shouldn't winning feel so empty? Monday dawned cloudy, something rare for August. I put on my suit, drove to the courthouse, and met Jennifer in the hallway, outside the courtroom. Lucy and Ryan were at the other end. Another lawyer now. Whitman must have withdrawn. This new one looked young, uncomfortable. The hearing lasted 40 minutes. Jennifer presented Dr. Allison's report, my medical files, my financial documentation, the character witness statements. The opposing lawyer tried to allege emotional instability, pointed to the change of will as proof of impaired judgment. Judge Catherine Rhodes, efficient, 50-something, with no patience for nonsense, interrupted him mid-sentence. Counselor, Changing a will is not proof of incompetence. It is proof of autonomy. Do you have any medical evidence of cognitive decline? Your Honor, the defendant's recent conduct, which includes documentation in order, legal consultation, and appropriate use of the law when his property was stolen, that is not decline. That is sound judgment. Petition denied. The gavel struck. A single dry sound. All over. Lucy stood motionless. Ryan's face turned white and then red. His lawyer gathered his papers in a hurry, avoiding looking at me. I walked out of the room next to Jennifer. I did not look back. On the courthouse steps, she turned to me. The restraining order remains in effect. They cannot approach you without violating it. The will change is protected. Your capacity was established in the records. You won everything. Yes. Why don't you look happier? I watched the cars pass on the street. Ordinary people, normal lives. Just another Monday. Because I did not want to win this. What I wanted was not to have had to do it. She touched my arm briefly, a gesture of professional sympathy. I will send you my final invoice. Call if you need anything. I drove back home alone. The trailer was still in my driveway, in the same spot for 3 weeks. I had not gone inside since the day I left the will in the glove box. I had not planned trips. I had not spread maps on the table. Now I opened it and went in. The air was stale. I opened the windows, letting the August heat fill the place. My phone vibrated. Text message. Unknown number. You destroyed your family for money. I hope it was worth it. I deleted it without replying. I blocked the number. Then I sat at the small table in the trailer and took out the maps I had folded 3 weeks ago. Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, Patagonia, all the places I had dreamed of visiting. I followed the routes with my finger. But something had changed. The illusion was gone. The anticipation was no longer there. Only colored paper and highway lines remained. I put the maps away. Tomorrow I would call the dealership to see how much they offered for a 3-week-old trailer with 800 miles on it. Maybe someone else could chase those dreams. Mine vanished the day Ryan walked through my door. The court gave me justice, but justice was not the same as recovering what was lost. I locked the trailer and went into my house, poured a glass of water, sat at the kitchen table, alone. I called Jennifer Vance before finishing my second cup of coffee. The incompetency petition was on the table, legal paper reflecting the morning light. She answered on the first ring. Arthur, I received a courtesy copy of the petition. They are alleging incapacity due to your recent erratic conduct, including the change of will and the police report. How solid is their case? Weak without evidence. But these processes can drag on. We must act preventively. What do you recommend? Get complete medical evaluations from independent doctors before any court-ordered assessment. Create a record of your mental competence. 2 doctors. Full cognitive studies. Neurological exam. Documentation impossible to refute. I made the appointments that same afternoon. Dr. Patricia Hendricks for Wednesday, Dr. Manuel Chen for Friday, general practitioner and neurological specialist. Cover everything. Dr. Hendricks' office was in North Scottsdale, a modern building surrounded by desert landscaping. She was thorough. She reviewed my clinical history, my medications, blood pressure, cholesterol, everything under control. She asked about family history, lifestyle habits, exercise routines. Then the cognitive tests began. Mr. Reeves, I am going to give you 3 words to remember. She asked me to repeat 3 words a few minutes later. The words were apple, table, penny. Can you repeat them? Apple, table, penny. She asked me to count backward from 100 by sevens. Say who the current president was. Remember what I had for breakfast. Draw a clock marking 3:15. She asked me about recent news. What had happened that week? I told her about the hurricane in Florida, the economic report, a Supreme Court decision I had read. 20 minutes later, she asked again what those 3 words were. Apple, table, penny. She took notes and smiled slightly. Your cognitive function is excellent, Mr. Reeves. Memory, attention span, reasoning, everything within normal parameters. In fact, better than the average for your age group. Doctor, Chen's exam was more technical. Neurological reflexes, coordination tests, spatial reasoning evaluations. He made me walk heel to toe, touch my nose with my index fingers alternating. Identify patterns in visual sequences. Do you do crosswords? He asked me while reviewing his conclusions. Your reaction time and processing speed are impressive. Insurance policies, I replied. I spent 35 years reading fine print that keeps the mind sharp. Both doctors delivered detailed reports on official letterhead, complete cognitive evaluations, neurological exams, conclusions, no evidence of dementia, cognitive decline, or incapacity. The patient demonstrates sound judgment and ability to make decisions. I delivered both sealed reports to Jennifer's office the following Tuesday. She opened them, read them carefully, and nodded satisfied. This is excellent. The court-appointed psychiatrists will reach the same conclusions. Their incompetency petition just became much harder to sustain. She placed the reports in my file, then stopped, grabbed earlier documents, and paused on a page. Her expression changed. Arthur, do you remember this? She showed me a document. 3 years ago, you signed a grant deed gifting your house to Lucy. Value at that time, $340,000. Current value, probably $380,000. I looked at the paper, my signature at the bottom, Lucy's next to mine. 3 years ago, 6 months after my wife's death, I had wanted Lucy to have security, to know she would always count on something solid. Jennifer left the document on her desk. Between us, this is a revocable grant deed. You can take it back. The words floated in the air. Take it back. Under what conditions? Arizona law allows revocation if the beneficiary demonstrates gross ingratitude toward the donor. With what happened, taking your property, suing you for incompetency, the comment about the nursing home, I think we have sufficient grounds. I looked at the document again. The house, the place where my wife and I had lived 23 years, the place where I had raised Lucy, the same house where Ryan had entered and taken my keys, where he suggested a home for the elderly. She does not know the house is legally hers. She thinks it is still mine, part of the future inheritance, which makes revoking it. Jennifer paused a moment to choose her words well. A lesson. I leaned back in the chair. The grant deed, made out of love, signed amidst grief, intended to protect, could now be revoked, with legal basis and justification. What else is in my file? I asked quietly. Jennifer took out another folder. Life insurance policies, 3 in total. Death benefit, $250,000. Is the beneficiary on all 3 Lucy? Yes. We looked at each other across her desk. The grant deed was between us, yellowish from the years. My signature was still clear at the bottom. I remembered when I signed it, thinking I was protecting her, ensuring she would have something solid when I was no longer there. Now that protection had turned into a weapon. Jennifer took a legal pad and uncapped a pen. If we are going to revoke this gift, we need to document the ingratitude thoroughly. The trailer incident, the police intervention, the incapacity lawsuit, all of that counts as evidence. We will also review your other assets, she said, looking at insurance beneficiaries, retirement accounts. I felt a shift inside me. It was no longer anger. It was something colder, more definitive. Lucy, I said, on everything. Jennifer's pen moved across the paper. Not for much longer. Jennifer spent the next hour drafting documents. Her fingers typed without pause, stopping occasionally to consult the Arizona statutes stacked on her shelf. I gave her dates, details, concrete incidents. I am citing 4 clear acts of ingratitude, she said while writing. First, the unauthorized taking of your property, valued at $45,000. Second, police intervention in a family matter, causing public humiliation. Third, the comment about the nursing home. On record. Ryan said it in front of me in my own house. Yes. And fourth, the filing of a baseless incompetency petition, despite contrary medical evidence. She stopped writing and reviewed the draft. This is solid, Arthur. Any judge would back the revocation. She printed the document and handed it to me. Official legal language, revocation of grant deed, citing revised Arizona statutes, documenting each instance of ingratitude with dates, witnesses, police report numbers, all clinical, precise, devastating. The house at 2,847 Desert Willow Drive. I read aloud, current value, $380,000. She will receive this by certified mail, along with the legal references explaining her right to contest, which will not prosper given the evidence. Jennifer took out 3 more forms. For change of life insurance beneficiaries, 3 different companies, 3 policies, 28 years paying premiums. These 3 policies, total benefit $250,000. Correct. Currently, Lucy is listed as primary beneficiary on all 3. We will change it to the Veterans Support Fund, same as in your will. I read each form carefully. My training as an insurance agent had made me meticulous with paperwork. Each one required signature, date, and new beneficiary data. I signed the first one, then the second, and then the third. Each signature felt definitive, immovable. She would receive the notification. Each insurance company would send the confirmation. She would know precisely what she had lost. Jennifer's assistant entered, gathered the documents, prepared certified mail envelopes, 1 for the deed revocation and 3 for the insurance confirmations. She put tracking labels on them and logged everything. Bureaucratic, but necessary. Proof of delivery. Jennifer stopped before sealing the envelope with the deed revocation. Arthur, I need to ask you, are you sure about this? Once we send these letters, there is no easy way back. Your relationship with your daughter, I interrupted her, firm but without anger. My relationship with my daughter ended when she stayed silent while her husband robbed me. These documents just make it official. She sealed the envelope. The certified mail went out Tuesday afternoon. By Thursday morning, my phone had blown up. 15 missed calls from Lucy, 2 from Ryan, several voicemails. I was back in Jennifer's office when her phone rang. She checked the caller ID, put it on speaker. Yes, this is Jennifer Vance. Yes, I represent Mr. Reeves. No, there is no negotiation. The revocation is legally valid. The beneficiary changes are his right. Your clients showed enormous ingratitude. It is documented. No, Mr. Reeves will not take any calls. She hung up and looked at me. They are panicking. I took my cell phone, checked the voicemails, and put one on speaker so Jennifer could hear. Ryan's voice filled the office, furious, threatening. You are making a huge mistake, old man. You think you can take the house back? We are going to tie you up in court for years. You will be dead before this is resolved. And we are not backing down with the incompetency hearing. Everyone will see how vindictive and... I stopped the playback. Save that, said Jennifer, taking notes. Add it to the evidence file. Threatening language toward an elderly relative. This helps us in the case. Lucy's messages were different, not threatening, but pleading, between sobs. The first 3 were unintelligible, just sobbing and disjointed phrases. The 4th was clearer. Dad, please, I need to talk to you. Just me, not Ryan. Please, I am coming over tomorrow morning. Stay home. I checked the time, 20 minutes ago. Tomorrow morning, Friday, I left Jennifer's office with copies of everything. The revocation notice, the insurance beneficiary changes, Ryan's transcribed and archived voicemail. The Arizona sun hit me as I walked out to the parking lot, burning, relentless. September in Phoenix felt like a punishment. I sat in the car without starting the engine. I looked at my phone again. Now there were 17 missed calls in total. All missed calls were from Lucy, except 2. What could she tell me? That she was sorry? That it was Ryan who forced her? That she had no choice? Everyone has choices. She made hers. Still, curiosity won out. I checked her last voicemail, the one about coming tomorrow. I listened to the urgency in her tone again. Just me, without Ryan, separated from him. That was something new. I started the car and left the parking lot. The drive home took half an hour with the afternoon traffic. I spent that time imagining what she would say. And what I would answer? Probably nothing. There was almost nothing left to say. But tomorrow I would be home. If she wanted to talk, I would listen. One time, the cell phone vibrated with a message when I pulled into my garage. Lucy, I am sorry. I'm so sorry. Let me explain. Tomorrow. Give me just 30 minutes. Please, Dad. I read it twice. I turned off the phone and went inside. The house was silent. Empty. The trailer remained parked, unused. 3 weeks since I bought it. 3 weeks since everything fell apart. I made dinner, roast chicken, salad, rice. I ate alone at the kitchen table. I washed the dishes, dried them, put them away. Tomorrow Lucy would come. She would apologize, or offer explanations, or beg. It did not matter. The documents were already signed, the certified mail sent, the gift annulled, the insurance beneficiaries changed. Everything in order, everything legal, everything definitive. I went to bed early, but I did not sleep. I lay in the dark thinking about those signatures from 3 years ago, about protection and betrayal, about the difference between being a father and being an insurance policy. The phone remained off. Let her wonder if I had read the message. Let her anguish over whether I would be home or not. I would listen to what she had to say, and then she would leave, and it would all be over. I was by the kitchen window when I saw Lucy's car arrive at 9:30 Friday morning. She came alone. Ryan was not in the passenger seat. That was important. I opened the door before she knocked. She had been crying. Swollen eyes, mascara running. Her hands were shaking on the porch. "Dad, please, can we talk? Just the two of us." I stepped aside, gesturing to the living room. "You wanted to talk? I am listening." She sat on the edge of the sofa, the same sofa she had sat on as a child. Birthdays, Christmases, movie nights when she was 10. Memories floated in the air like ghosts. I never wanted any of this. The trailer, the police, the legal fights. This was not what I wanted. I settled into the chair across from her. Not next to her. The distance mattered. "So, what did you want, Lucy?" Her voice broke. Ryan pushed for everything. The trailer was his idea. Filing the incapacity petition was his idea. I just went along because he is my husband, and I did not know how to stop him. You did not know how to tell him no, but you did know how to stay silent when he humiliated me. She lowered her gaze to her hands, twisted her wedding ring. "I am sorry." For what exactly? For everything. For not standing up to him. For letting things go this far. I leaned forward. I asked her the question I had kept since that morning in my driveway, the day he took my keys and suggested putting me in a nursing home like disposable trash. "You were there. Why didn't you defend me?" Long silence. She looked at her lap. 30 seconds passed. 45. I do not know. I should have. I am sorry. You do know. You chose him over me. You just do not want to admit it. Her tears flowed harder. "I love you, Dad. Truly. But he is my husband. I have to live with him." "Have to? You have to choose. That is what you say. You chose him then. You continue to choose him now. It is not that simple." "Yes, it is." I stood up, walked to the window. I looked at the RV parked in my driveway. I will stop everything. The deed revocation. The changes to the insurance. Everything. The house becomes yours again. The inheritance remains intact. On one condition. Her face showed a flicker of hope. "Anything." "What?" "That you file for divorce. That you get Ryan out of your life. That you choose your father over your husband, just as you chose your husband over your father." Her expression changed, first surprise, then realization, then anger. "You cannot ask me that. That is manipulation. That is blackmail." I turned from the window and looked straight at her. "No. Blackmail is threatening someone to get something that does not belong to you. I have a right to my daughter's respect. I am giving you an option. The same one you gave me when you stayed silent while he robbed me. You chose in that moment. Choose now." She stood up, grabbed her purse. "This is cruel. You have become cruel. I have become just. There is a difference." She walked to the door, paused with her hand on the knob. "You are going to die alone and bitter, maybe. But I will die knowing I did not let them trample me, not even my family." She left. The door closed softly. I watched her from the window sitting in her car for 5 minutes, crying. Then she started the engine and drove away. I expected to feel something, maybe satisfaction or vindication. Instead, I only felt tired, old. The house was silent. Evening fell. My phone vibrated with a voicemail. It was Ryan's voice, overflowing with rage. "You are a sick man, asking her to divorce me. What kind of father does that? You are going to pay dearly. We are going to drag you through every court in Arizona. We are going to make sure everyone knows you are a manipulative and spiteful old man. This is not over. Not even close. I listened to it once on speaker and then forwarded it to Jennifer with a 2-word message. More evidence. Her reply came in minutes. Perfect. This helps if they escalate the situation. She asked if I was ready to move forward with the sale of the house. I looked around the living room. Lucy had been sitting on that sofa just an hour ago, crying. Before that, countless family dinners, birthdays, movie nights when she was a child. The house held decades of memories, but those memories were not enough to counteract the betrayal. I wrote my answer to Jennifer. Yes, listed immediately. I am ready to move on. I put down the phone and walked to my office. In the desk drawer, I had a folder with real estate listings. Small houses in Sedona, a town I had always wanted to know. Red rock views, quiet streets, far enough from Phoenix to start over. I took out the folder and spread the listings on the desk. One caught my attention. 2 bedrooms, red rock views, $220,000. I marked it with a pen. It was time to stop looking back. Monday morning, I met with Jennifer to sign the revocation of the grant deed. The document was on her desk, official, stamped, ready to be filed. Here it is, Arthur. Once I record it with the county, the grant deed is officially revoked. The house is yours alone. Are you ready? I signed on the bottom line. I have been ready since the moment I understood what was happening. This just makes it official. She witnessed my signature and placed her notary seal. For what it is worth, I think you have handled this with admirable restraint. Many people would have been much more vindictive. I replied, I am not looking to destroy them. Just protect what is mine. That same afternoon, she filed the documents, and by Wednesday the house was legally mine again. 3 years after giving it to Lucy out of love, it returned to my name because of betrayal. Richard Gomes, the real estate agent, placed the for sale sign in the yard Thursday morning. I watched him from the window as he hammered it into the grass. The house I lived in for 23 years was now just a property transaction. The listing went online Friday, and there were several showings over the weekend. By Monday afternoon, Richard called me with 3 offers. Mr. Reeves, all cash buyers, all want to close fast. The highest is $392, closing in 2 weeks. Accept it. I do not need the maximum price. I need to be done with this place. Are you sure? We could reach the asking price if we wait. I am sure. Accept the offer. While the sale proceeded, I drove to Sedona. The listing I had marked was still available. 2 bedrooms, red rock views, $220,000. I walked through empty rooms and stood in the backyard looking at the red rock formations rising in the distance. The real estate agent talked about square footage and recent remodels, but I barely listened. This works. This is enough. 2 bedrooms, 1 for me and 1 for an office. A kitchen with views of the red rocks. No neighbors nearby. No memories. Just room to breathe. I bought it cash. I signed the papers that same day. Jennifer called in the afternoon with news. Lucy and Ryan's lawyer reached out again, wanted to talk about a possible settlement. I told her there was nothing to negotiate. Everything you did was legal. The incapacity hearing was annulled. The judge reviewed your medical evaluations and found no grounds. What did he say? He asked if you would agree to meet one more time with Lucy. I told him I would consult you, but I already knew your answer. You know it too. The Phoenix house closed 2 weeks later. I signed the final documents at a title company office. I received a cashier's check for $392,000. Added to my savings, it was enough to live quietly the rest of my days. My way. I spent the next week packing. The trailer that had caused so much conflict finally fulfilled its function. Clothes, maps, camping gear, travel guides. I loaded it with order, crossing each item off my list. With my insurance agent training, everything documented, nothing forgotten. The morning I left, I drove north instead of south, from Phoenix to Flagstaff, then west toward the Grand Canyon. I had planned this route months ago, when I first bought the trailer. When Lucy's voice on the phone extinguished my joy. Now I was recovering it. I stopped at a viewpoint, stepped out into the fresh September air. The canyon stretched before me, immense, ancient, indifferent to human dramas. I stood next to my trailer, with the landscape behind, and took out my cell phone. A single photo. Me and the Winnebago Vista with the Grand Canyon in the background. I wrote a caption. Turns out I did need this after all. I sent it to Lucy. Then I put the phone in airplane mode and went back to the trailer. I did not wait for a reply. I did not need one. Whatever she felt seeing that photo, anger, regret, bitterness, it no longer mattered. She made her choices. I made mine. The highway stretched west from the canyon, empty and open. I had no schedule, no deadline. Monument Valley tomorrow, maybe. Arches National Park next week. With luck, Patagonia, if the weather allowed. The cell phone rested silently in the cup holder. Jennifer had sent a final email that morning before I left. All concluded. The incapacity case is dismissed. The revocation of the grant deed recorded. You are free and clear. Free and clear. I like how that sounds. The trailer responded firmly on the highway, stable and reliable. I feared it would feel too big, difficult to control, but it moved as if it were a natural extension of my own movements. The miles were falling behind under the tires. Phoenix was moving away, and Sedona waited for me 2 hours south, ready for when I wanted to return to my new house, to my new life, but not yet. First, there were places I wanted to see. I had waited long enough already. The retirement I had planned, the dream I had saved for, the trip I had earned, it was finally happening. On my terms. In my trailer. Alone, but without feeling lonely. Lucy and Ryan had thought they could take this from me, that an old man would not fight, that the family bond gave them immunity from consequences. They learned that was not so, not through my cruelty, but thanks to my proof, my preparation, my refusal to accept that love means tolerating theft. The road curved in front of me through the desert, between red rocks and blue sky. I followed it west, then north, and then wherever the map pointed me. No one expected me. No one claimed me. No one could take this away from me. Just the road, the trailer, and the freedom to choose my course. I spent 63 years being careful, responsible, someone everyone could rely on. Now it was different. Not reckless, not imprudent, just free. The sun moved across the sky, the miles accumulated, and somewhere ahead, after the next curve, or the one after that, my true retirement awaited me. Not the one I had lost when Ryan walked through my door, but the one I fought to recover. If you liked this story, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box to the left. Thanks for watching. What I learned on this journey is that we must never allow anyone, not even those closest to us, to steal our dignity or the dreams we built with so much effort. I spent years being responsible, supporting everyone, but I also discovered that there comes a moment in life when one must choose for oneself, not for others. Being free is not being reckless. It is being faithful to what one deserves. And sometimes justice is not demonstrated with shouts or revenge, but with preparation, patience, and the firmness not to yield to injustice. If you were in my place, what would you have done? Stay silent and let them take what was yours, or stand up and defend what you achieved with so much sacrifice? I am very interested to hear your thoughts and experiences. God bless you always.